So there's been a tremendous amount of talk about whether Tesla is going to get into the housing business. And I know I've brought this up on my channel as well. And I think we might have even brought it up in the book, the Elon Musk mission. It seems so obvious, but let's talk about whether it's happening, whether it might happen, when it might happen, what might be new that would cause us to think that it's going to happen now. This is Randy Kirk. And if this seems valuable to you and useful to you, then please like and subscribe and become part of my Patreon group, because one of the things we're looking at is what does the future look like in an Elon Musk economy? We're going to be discussing that, spitballing it. We've already started. And so what might housing look like 10 years from now? How might it be a lot different than what we have today? All right, let's dig into the subject. So I became curious. I spend most of my life in a stage of curiousness. I think it's a major part of what an entrepreneur does, is be curious about everything. But I became even more curious today because my buddy Warren Redlick had on a guest today by the name of Jennifer Strahan. And the whole purpose of his meeting, having Jennifer Strahan on his program, was to discuss the whole business of housing, and in particular 3D printed housing, and how that might fall into our marry very nicely some concept that might be around Tesla getting into the housing business. So I started doing some research, because even though Jennifer had really done some good research and had some great links, which I did follow up and checked out her links, it still was incomplete. And I felt, okay, this is a subject I'm hearing a lot about online right now with regard to Tesla and housing, and something I've been interested in. So let's dig in and let's find out where things are right now. 3D printing is a particular interest of mine. Also, one of the products that I've got online right now on Amazon was originally created in 3D printing. And so I learned a lot about desktop 3D printing and whatnot. So this is another category of serious interest for me. But in housing, it seemed, when I first looked into it a couple of years ago, like this is a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you build homes in most locations out of concrete using these 3D printers? It's faster. You can build it in, some people claim they can build an entire house in 24 hours, maybe a week at the very most. You can build in a lot of the, you can trap the energy much better inside the home. You don't have as much leakage of energy in or out. So for that and other reasons, it seemed like, why wouldn't this be kind of the future? But years later, 3D printing is still in almost every area of where 3D printing was going to be a breakthrough. You still see kind of, it's okay. Yes, some people are using 3D printing. They're using it for this and using it for that, but it hasn't become the big deal that I thought it would become years ago, or that it was talked about how big a deal it would become. Kathy Wood, my buddy, she spends a tremendous amount of time talking about 3D printing as well. She believes it's the future, and I still believe that it is the future. Specifically with regard to housing, it seemed like this would be an easy way to actually break into a category where there was enough money involved to quickly develop the concept. And we were looking at YouTube videos years ago that was showing really good equipment for creating these 3D homes or 3D buildings. Now I've, in my research today, they're starting to look at 2 and 3 and 4-story buildings, larger buildings. So how does that then affect Tesla? Well, Tesla has lots of reasons to get into housing. One of those reasons is they have a lot of employees, and some of when they set up shop, like in Austin or down in space. So what are they calling it now? Space World, or the town that they've taken over down in South Texas, and now in Boca Chica, and then in Sparks, and these other places where they've come into these areas. A lot of times there's not nearly enough housing to handle the employees that are going to be wanting to move in to those areas to work there. This may also be true in Berlin. I haven't really looked into that. So Tesla has been involved in some of the helping with the housing. This has been true in Sparks. When they put up the original building, they did participate somehow in getting some housing built over there. And in fact, on the new agreement they have with the state of Nevada, one of the things that they needed to do in order to get their $330 million tax break was to guarantee and promise that they would work with local developers, local housing developers, to get some local housing built for the 5,000 plus employees that will be added to the payroll as they expand the Giga 1 or Giga Reno or Giga Sparks, or however you want to refer to it. So they're already been in the business of helping these employees get more housing. Obviously, they're building a lot of buildings, and according to Warren Redlich on this show, which I'll link below, by the way, so you can take a look at it yourself. It's quite interesting. Warren said that one of the buildings down at SpaceX, the SpaceX facility in South Texas, in the Browning area, that one of the buildings down there was 3D printed, not a house, but a full-on building. So Tesla is obviously knowledgeable about what's going on with 3D printing, and therefore that would suggest they could be interested in that aspect of any housing project they might put together for their employees. Well, in addition, I'm sure you've read, and they did speak about in this video, that Tesla has entered into an agreement. And let me put up let me share the screen here. I'm always slow. I'm sorry about sharing the screen. Here we go, share. And let's take a look here at this page. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. All right, over here. So we have this company, Icon Build. They do Icon projects. They are associated with a couple of other people in these projects. Lennar, you can see Lennar over here is the major person that they're associated with in terms of building 3D houses in the Texas area. And Tesla has got some kind of a deal to build 110 homes in the Austin area with these folks. Now, some of the confusion in the video with Warren Redlich was about the fact that there was 110 homes. Well, it turns out it looks like all of these projects, the first phases of them is 110 homes, or maybe I'm getting confused, but if you want to go read through this stuff yourself, I think you'll see that we have this big Jarkey Ingalls group. They're reimagining 3D print in the El Cosmico in Marfa, Texas. This is just one of the projects. I believe that one includes a hotel and also some homes. Then we have this other one over here, which is a community of 3D printed homes in Georgetown, Texas. If you go into the and take a look, these are very beautiful homes, modern in every way. But each of these projects seem to be on the order of 110 homes. And that is also what they were talking about with regard to the Tesla project. So again, you can see some of this activity here. Some of the homes are in the round as opposed to being square or rectangular. This is something you see a lot in the 3D homes that have been, that a lot of the homes that they're looking at, for some reason, they're making them round, or at least in curved. I guess maybe this is just easier to 3D print. So now let's go to the next stage. So we know Tesla is interested. They have joined up with Lennar Homes. They are going to build some homes, 110 homes, as a phase one, I believe, in Texas. In fact, I think we have that link as well here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's being, I think, called Project Amazing, or he's building a neighborhood in Texas. And they're going to have names of the streets, like the Boring Company or whatever. So, it does say the future homes will possibly be 3D printed like Lennar's nearby Wolf Ranch community. So that straightens out something for the conversation that Warren was having. is that, yes, it is possible. Maybe it hadn't been decided when this article was written, whether they will all be 3D printed, whether some will be 3D printed, or whether none will be 3D printed. But Lennar is building at least these 3 different communities, somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 homes each, some of which are designed to be prototypical, and that they will expand on these as they sell out. One of them, I think, is suggesting that there would be as many as 2,500 homes involved in that project when it's fully built out. Okay, so why else would Tesla be interested in all of this? Of course, that is the obvious answer to that is, one, because of the roofing. So they already have the roofing capability. They have the ability to put in the solar panel. The wall energy unit, storage units in the garages. So you combine those 2 together, you get tremendous energy conservation, or energy production and conservation. And then, as was suggested by Jennifer in the video with Warren, you could also have a local for the 110 homes. You could have 1 or more mega packs, which would then provide another level of this energy production and storage, which might allow the community to be off the grid entirely. Now, possibly you still want to have a hookup to the grid for that crazy weather circumstance, at least until all of these products get better and better and better, so that you would never, ever need the grid. Now, I've talked about this before. If you've watched all of my videos over the last 3 or 4 months, you know that I've talked about this idea of distributed energy being the ideal, that every new community that's built should use some combination of what we're talking about here, so that you have distributed energy, as opposed to relying on massive grids with the overhead, transmission wires and everything else, all the mess that goes with that. You can eliminate all of that if you do this kind of community distributed energy production. All right, so these projects are ongoing, and Tesla could also then bring in their HVAC system. It was pointed out in this video, and I'm sure those of you who watched it the other day, the Investor Day, that the third thing or the fourth thing mentioned by Elon Musk and crew was the idea of heat pumps in homes and in industry. Elon has been talking for a while now about making an octavalve type system for homes. Now they're suggesting industry as well. And there was a wink and a nod that this is not something way downstream, but something that's definitely potentially coming quickly. Warren Redlick then mentions in the video that this is, if you did the numbers, this was one of the highest return on investment things that you could do in terms of putting in $1 and getting back energy conservation or energy production. So using these heat sink systems as opposed to air conditioning or traditional gas-fired or coal-fired or whatever heating systems, this is a much better way to go, especially with current technology. So if the Tesla company is making the HVAC system, they're making the storage unit for the garage, they're making the roof, and they're also, of course, can supply the car and supply the car charger. Now you have a bunch of different reasons why Tesla would want to be in the housing business. Now, would they want to be, from the ground up, buying the property and building the homes and putting out salespeople to sell the homes and all the rest? Well, so far, it looks like they're interested in getting into partnerships with the kind of folks that know how to do that. And then how do they come together as partners to make these absolutely most modern, most efficient homes that we can possibly imagine. Now, why 3D printing? I'll get back all the way back around to 3D printing. Well, 3D printing in concrete is going to be way more efficient than using wood or stucco or some of these other things. It's going to hold the heat in. It's going to hold the cold in. If you're air conditioning the unit, it's going to keep you don't need the same kind of insulation. You don't need any insulation. And in the concrete will work very, very well. You can make it thick. And the thicker you make it, of course, the better it's going to be at holding in the heat or holding in the cold. So all of that makes tremendous sense in terms of building these homes using concrete and using 3D printing. So Warren's biggest objection to the whole thing was that there wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to be scalable. Well, I think, I may or may not be able to pull this up for you. So what they showed in these, oh, no, I think I can. Just a second. Let's go back. Let's share the screen again. And let's do this right. Let's go back and take another look at this project. If we go back to Icon themselves, as opposed to the projects that they're participating in, they showed their units. Build with Icon, Ashbank Media's off-world construction, technology. I bet it's under technology, 3D printed home, Vulcan construct. So they're going to do, they've also participating in the moonshot, where they are going to be building, constructing homes on the moon with SpaceX getting NASA back to the moon here in a couple of years or sooner. I can't remember exactly the timing. This company, Icon, has been charged by the NASA with bringing the equipment up that will be necessary to build some units up there, some housing units up there, are some buildings, some outbuildings and whatnot on the moon. So here is their unit that they use. It is something that, you know, I don't know whether they have more than one of these. Warren was saying, gee, can they manufacture these, you know, in multiples so that it becomes inexpensive enough to be used for these kind of projects? I don't know the answer to that, but we can see that this is a very, obviously a very sleek looking unit that they've created in order to do this 3D printing and to do it not only on Earth, but also on the moon. Obviously, we can extrapolate that to Tesla's need to be able to build, construct housing on Mars as well. So here you have the unit, here you have the potential factory that's going to make the homes, if you will, and you have the company that's actually doing it the most. I spent a tremendous amount of time looking at all kinds of other projects. Almost everything else is one out. You get, you know, they're making one 4,000 square foot home, and they're making one home over here. Habitat for Humanity is involved, and they're finding that it's the least expensive way to make low-cost housing, but they've made a couple of these houses. So all of this stuff is at ground level. Nobody else other than Icon that I can find is really taking it to the level of mass producing, and it looks like right now about 330 homes in and around Austin or nearby in the Texas area, with plans to expand those projects to many thousands of homes once the proof of concept has been completed. So there you have it. That is my understanding. If you've got comment, please give me comments. If you know more, if you can point me to other locations online that would give us more information about 3D printing of homes or about Tesla being involved in home building. But that is a lot, and it's certainly a good start. And it's something I think that as Tesla investors, we should be watching, because it looks like that this is an area of great interest for Elon and for Tesla. So that's it for today. Like if you liked, you know what to do. This has been Randy Kirk, and it's been great talking to you today.